Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Susan Short, who will lead the discussion and introduce the panel. So, Susan.
Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a great morning so far. Thank you so much for coming. I know it's early in the music industry, so thank you. So this is our panel, NFTs in Music, the legal issues, and we're gonna do a deep dive into all kinds of aspects of NFTs. I think you guys are gonna learn a lot. So I would like to introduce, we have Mike Gormley, a legendary music manager. Mike, come to the stage. And we also have our attorney in-house, Daniel Lifshitz. Can you please give them a round of applause? This panel is put on by Dan Warren and myself of Warren Media and Marketing. He unfortunately could not be here because he is in the studio with David Prater, legendary producer, and Zenith Bride. Also, Neville Johnson unfortunately could not be here as well, but we will be thinking about them today. So gentlemen, go ahead and sit down, and we're gonna allow you to talk for a few minutes about your involvement with NFTs, what you guys actually are doing, and then we're gonna get into the meat of the NFTs and how it can benefit your intellectual property and what could be some of the pitfalls involved. So let's start with Mike Gormley. You can come to the stage, you can sit there, that's fine, whatever you want. Okay.
Hi, everybody. How you doing?
Morning.
God, I'm legendary.
Legendary.
It's official. I didn't know till right now. Let's see. Did you wanted my background? Is that right?
Just give us, the elevator speech.
The elevator. Okay. Well, I was a journalist. Somebody asked me if I wanted to be head of publicity for Mercury Records. I was about 24 at the time. I said, sure, having never done publicity in my life. And about 3 months after I joined Mercury Records, Rod Stewart released Every Picture Tells a Story. And that's what I did for the next 5 years, and I learned how to be a PR person very quickly. Went on to become vice president of A&M Records. Worked very closely. Wait a minute, I had a really cool title as Vice President and Assistant to the Chairman of A&M Records. And that meant nothing, but it was a cool title. And I worked then with very closely with the police and a lot of those great A&M artists that came out. This was the late 70s into the 80s. And then the manager of the police, a guy named Miles Colpin, came to me and said, "You want to start a company? I just signed a band called Oingo Boingo and I'm too busy with the police. Can you help?" And I was pretty tired of being a record executive. It was like going to meetings to find out what time the next meeting was. I just didn't find it very creative anymore. So again, I jumped into something I'd never done before, which was managing artists. And it was Oingo Boingo and a band called Wall of Voodoo. And about 6 months into that company, we found a band called the Bangs and renamed them the Bangles. And that's what I did the rest of the 80s. It was Oingo Boingo, Wall of Voodoo, and the Bangles. And that was intense and fantastic and amazing, and all that goes on with clients that you, like with the Bangs or the Bangles. I signed them when they were called the Bangs and didn't have a bass player. So to take something that basic to where they got to, and multi-platinum and all that sort of stuff, was quite an amazing experience.
Well, I'm not quite sure how much everybody knows about NFTs, if you all are considering minting your own NFTs, if you're going to do it with music and art. We're focusing obviously on music, so we're going to do a Q&A in a little bit, but first I'm going to run through what actually an NFT is, and I'll give you a brief overview on what you need to do and some of the things you need to think about when you're creating your own NFT. So obviously, NFT stands for non-fungible token. The first one was created in 2015. Most NFTs are actually sold with Ethereum. Ethereum is a cryptocurrency. It's very stable. It's more stable than some of the other currencies. You don't have to use Ethereum, but it's mostly based in Ethereum. Most of the NFTs, not all, are sold on a platform called OpenSea. So the first thing that you need to do is think about what you are going to create and use as your NFT. If it's a piece of music, it's going to be a WAV file or an MP3. And you also need to have your art, which can be your album art. Make sure, and we're going to do a little bit more of a deep dive into this, that you created this art and you do own the rights to this art. It's extremely important, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating a smart contract within the metadata of the image and of the music. So that's essentially what it is. It creates and it mints, the word is mint, it mints the smart contract, and you can't change the smart contract once it's done. It's forever in that metadata. So when you hover over an image, let's say on the internet, you can always see the metadata. You can see where it was originated, if it was a Getty image or if it was an image from AP or whatever, you can always see that. So it's essentially the metadata that's within the image and the music. So not to be too technical, you need to start a wallet. So you have to have either, I like MetaMask. I'm not advocating any of these companies. I don't work for them. If they want to hire me, okay, we can talk. But I recommend MetaMask. It's pretty safe, and you can create the wallet. You have to have a little bit of cryptocurrency in order to mint, because there's something called gas fees, and I don't know if you all have heard about gas fees, but there's a little market economy. It's actually a big market economy on the gas and making these smart contracts. They have like bays in different rural areas of these large mainframe computers that actually, do these smart contracts, and they mint them with the gas fees. So it does create it's not really eco-friendly. So anyway, you need to have this wallet, and it will give you, it's called a hot wallet. And it gives you words. Do you know how many words it is? It's like 8 or 10 words. It gives you write these words down. I know this sounds strange, but it's true. You write these words down, you put it in a very, very safe place. Because if you become very successful minting NFTs of your music, then you're gonna wanna be able to access this wallet. And if you lose these words, which has happened, there's many different cases where people have lost the words, you cannot have any access ever. There's no way, so be super careful with that. So then after that, you want to sync it to OpenSea. You sync your wallet. You can use something called Wallet Connect, right? You sync it, you've got a little bit, you don't have to put a lot of crypto in there. I would recommend $100 or less, not a lot. And then you can begin to use the platform to mint your NFT. Now, think of an NFT as a lithograph. Everybody knows what a lithograph is. It could be 100 of one print, a high quality print of, say, a piece of art. There's not really lithographs in music, but anyway, so think about the mint as a lithograph. You might want to mint 4 of one. You might want to mint 5. Some, Bored Ape mints 500. There's thousands. So the more you mint, the more it's going to cost in gas fees. So we can do a little bit more of a dive into those questions, but that's essentially it in a nutshell, without going into too much technical jargon, etc. So my first question to you, Dan, is what has your experience been in creating companies that are using NFTs for marketing tools, and what has their success rate been?
So I can't give you any active case studies where we have the returns on investment yet, because the clients that I've been assisting with NFTs have all been either in the preparatory stage or the just launching stage. So we're waiting to see what the actual net proceeds of the NFT sales are. But I can say I just finished papering a deal for a 10,000 set NFT collection, which seems to be the most popular choice nowadays when you're creating an ecosystem like the Bored Ape Yacht Club or CryptoPunks or things of that nature.
So let me stop you for a second. So they minted 10,000 NFTs of music, of pieces of music?
So this particular client wasn't dealing with music, but rather original artwork, which seems to be the most popular in Huntington Beach, if I recall correctly. And he created this company called HitPiece that launched out of nowhere. And the fact that it launched out of nowhere is what pissed a lot of people off. So what HitPiece purported to do was scrape the entire Spotify music catalog, take their API and mint NFTs for every single song on Spotify.
Well, like, stop. Every single song on Spotify? How many songs are on Spotify?
Millions and millions and
And
millions.
so they must have used AI to do that, right?
Yeah.
So did they create a program that was able to do that?
They got access to Spotify's API, which
How
is,
did they get access to that?
Spotify offers its API to developers for a variety of uses if they want to sync certain applications with the data. So he got access to the API, or so I am told. I don't want to speak with perfect authority on that, but one way or another, he created an NFT marketplace for every song on Spotify.
Wow.
And the pitch was, hey, we're going to treat these NFTs like they're digital trading cards. So the idea is, come to HitPiece and assemble your, dream list of artists and songs that you want to claim exclusive ownership over. So within the HitPiece ecosystem, people scramble to, own the NFT of their favorite song by their favorite band.
And how much currency was this? What was that must have been a lot of money, right?
So the back end is sort of
This
okay.
is a cautionary tale, obviously.
It is a
cautionary tale.
It is a cautionary tale, because even without diving into the legalities of HitPiece, the fact that it launched with no notice to the artists ended up being its PR downfall. Because as soon as HitPiece tried to drum up interest in the platform, artists quickly turned their heads and said, wait, what's going on? You're selling my music in your marketplace?
On any of the sync licensing fees?
So the short answer is no. The long answer is no, unless the parties have entered into a contract that explicitly affords that. So when we talk about owning an NFT, all you really own is a spot on the blockchain, because the NFT is just a little bit of data that points to some external piece of media. The NFT itself doesn't contain the media. The image doesn't ride along with the file or the MP3 or anything else that the NFT nominally represents. It's basically a certificate of authenticity saying, or a receipt saying, you own this abstract concept. I like to refer to NFTs or analogize NFTs to trading cards, which is the same thing that HitPiece did. At the end of the day, you own an ephemeral piece of data that is nominally representative of a collectible, because you're the only one who owns this piece of data tied back to the external media. And then the question is, what makes that valuable to you? Well, typically, the value comes from who sold it to you or who minted it in the first place. The example that I like to use, the real world example, although it's not strictly in the music realm, is Quentin Tarantino and his sale of NFTs representing pages from the original script of 1994's Pulp Fiction. He decided to mint a set of the NFTs representing pages from the original script and then offer them at auction. Miramax then sued him, saying, we own the copyright to Pulp Fiction and the underlying screenplay, and we are the ones who should be allowed to conduct this auction. Quentin Tarantino is fighting back in court. He's already sold the first NFT. I believe it went for about $1.1 million.
Wow.
One page.
One page.
Wow.
One page. And the value...
What page?
You know what? I never checked. I'm gonna
Was it a good page?
I'm assuming the title page.
Yeah.
The marquee image. And the question was, okay, well, what did the owner really get by buying it from Quentin Tarantino versus buying it from Miramax? And the difference is, who do you want to say you bought it from? Obviously, it has more intrinsic value coming from the creator of the film than from the faceless corporation that happens to own the copyright to the film. And so when we talk about, you know, the value of a minted NFT, anybody can mint an NFT of anything, and depending on how they do it, possibly skirt a lot of the legal protections you.
So Mike, I have some questions for you. How would you have used NFTs for some of the legendary bands that you've worked with? For instance, do you think that the NFTs, I know that you're working with a company right now called Chattering. Actually, Mike and I do work with that, but how would you have used NFTs for, say, the Bangles or Oingo Boingo? And your current client, Skunk, are you thinking of doing any NFTs of his music?
I am thinking of it, but I don't. The whole NFT experience is, I don't know. I guess it was a year ago or maybe a year and a half ago when I first heard of NFTs. So in a way, I'm still figuring out whether it's good for a client or not, and how I would have used it. It would have been another. To me, it's almost a marketing thing as much as it is a profit center, or hopefully a profit center. You know, it's people coming in and learning about artists they may not know about. So it might have been something useful way back when.
Thank you. Very, very informative.